Today I'm going to be showing you a watercolour technique that you can create with the Stamparatus. You could do it with any stamp. Ideally you want to use some marker pens, which is what I've got here, and you need a spritzer. So Stampin Up sell these still. They are on page 203 of the annual catalogue. They're £2.75 and you get 2 spritzers. In these you can put water, you can put rubbing alcohol, you can put a mixture of rubbing alcohol with like a fine shimmer in here. You could just put plain old shimmer paint in here. You can do absolutely loads with these. Today we've just got water in them. And so yes, I'll be using the markers, the spritzers and some of our watercolour paper. Now, like I said before, you could just use a normal stamp, but I'm going to use the Stamparatus just because it's to hand and it's easy and I use it a lot. And I'm going to be using the Bouquet Bloom stamp set, and I'm using this long floral stamp, and I'm going to use 2 sets of very bright colours. I'm going to have 2 goes at this, and I've used very bright colours, not necessarily colours that look nice together, but it's just to show you the effect. I just want to show you the technique so you can see how it works. So I'm going to place this on here. This is an element that I'm creating that's going to go on a card. And so we've positioned our stamp. Now I'm going to spray the watercolour paper, and I'm just going to give that a good spritz so that it's wet, and I'm going to place that back in the Stamparatus. If you feel that you have put too much water on it, then you can get some kitchen towel or toilet tissue and you can just blot some of the colour off. Okay, now we're going to go with the red, green and yellow to begin with, which is cherry cobbler, garden green and crushed curry. And what you want to do is just colour in the stamp using the side of the marker pen at an angle, just so that you can get plenty of colour on. And then add on your next colour. Obviously you want to try not to sort of damage your pens by mixing the colours, so a little bit of concentration is required for this. And then we're going to stamp the wet watercolour paper. Now there are 2 ways of doing this. You could just stamp directly onto there, or you could spritz this with water as well. Now you'll see that my watercolour paper is just starting to sort of buck a little bit, so what I'm actually going to do is just to put some water on the back, just so that we can get that to lie flat. And then we're going to stamp. And that should give you, if you put enough water on, that should give you a lovely sort of watercolour effect. If you haven't done a very good job, then you can simply give that a bit of a spray. I've probably put too much on, to be honest, but this is why we're going to give it several tries. And you can just blot that out. And actually when that's dry, I think that will look really nice with maybe a very black sentiment coming down here. You could do all sorts with that. You can actually get your water, your aqua painter as well, and draw some of the colour out. It's a very, very easy technique. Let's give it another try, but in the other colours, because I think the colours that I've chosen don't look that nice together. So I'm just going to clean this stamp with a baby wipe. Obviously we've got a Simply chamois to do this job, but I've not got one of those yet, so I'm just using some paper towel. Okay, so let's use some better colours. Let's use some Melon Mambo, some Bermuda Bay and Pacific Point. And this time we will spritz the stamp as well as the paper. Sorry if you've got a bit of glare from the Stamparatus. It's very hard to get the right amount of light and then obviously, you know, not get the reflection. Okay, so let's give that a go. Now this time I'm gonna try not to get as much water on there, and I'm going to spray the actual stamp as well. So again, I think I might have and you could actually ink that up and do that again if you wanted to. If you want to add a bit more definition. So it's an easy technique, it's trial and error just to get the look you want. But as you can see, as it dries, you end up with this gorgeous sort of watercolour pattern. So if we blot some of that, now you could go over the stamp again, just in places very lightly with one of the colours, and just pick up there's so much that you could do. But it just creates a really nice background. Oh, some paper in my stamp. But what I will do is I will actually make these into some cards so that you can see what the result is. Let's do one more. And I have seen someone as well stamp back over the top in Versamark and add some detail with some metallic embossing powder or white embossing powder. That looked really nice. But let's just give that one last try. This time I'm going to sandwich the pink between the turquoise and the bright blue. So I'm just making that damp, but not too damp. I'm going to spray the back as well, again, just to stop it curling. And then I'm going to leave these to dry. And then, like I said, I will actually create a card from these, which I will perhaps show in another video, or I'll put some sort of link after this on the video so that you can see. Right, I'm going to spray the stamp as well. Oops. There we go. I think I did did that better this time. I think we've got a better idea, but they all look great. And like I said, you could get an aqua painter. Let me check that the end is clean. And you could actually, if you wanted, just sort of bring the colour out a little bit. If you're not happy with your design, you could bring that out a little bit more. Oops. Like that. And this is the result of the 3 stamped images using the watercolour paper and the spritzer, and I shall make something with these. These will be toppers, or focal point for some watercolour cards. So thanks for watching.